We can only protect what we love, and we can only love what we understand. Join us for thought-provoking conversations about how travel can promote understanding and help us work together to build a better world. Hello and welcome to Better World. My name is Kasha, and today I'll be speaking to renowned wellness practitioner Vijaya Goyal. Hi, Vijaya. Welcome to our podcast, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Kesia, for inviting me for this wonderful talk. I'm so looking forward to speak with you.
It's only a pleasure. Now, Vijaya, as a wellness practitioner and as one of the wellness practitioners who are going to be taking part in our Wellness Masters and Residence program at Punakha River Lodge, we wanted to chat to you a little bit more today to find out about the concept of wellness, specifically how it is applied in Asia and Bhutan. Before we go into details, I'd just like our listeners to get a little bit of an idea about you and who you are. Now, I believe that you began your professional life in the courtroom as a lawyer. It's a really big change from there to wellness practitioner. Could you tell us a little bit about that, your personal journey into wellness and what inspired you to become a practitioner, especially one with such an extensive resume as yours?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. And as it points to such a significant change in my life, I was in fact very happy and intellectually fulfilled as a lawyer. I was driven by a deep desire for justice and resolving complex human disputes. However, over time, I discovered a profound limitation in the legal field. While I could secure an external victory or a strong financial settlement for a client, but I realized I could give them that final, crucial 100% of internal peace and lasting happiness. The legal system excels at material success, but the underlying emotional and internal conflict often remained unresolved. This realization, coupled with experiencing my own personal burnout from the high conflict environment, drove my shift. My purpose extended. I moved from seeking external resolution in a courtroom to guiding people toward internal resolution and balance. And I found wellness and healing offered me the tools to address the root cause of suffering rather than just treating the symptoms of conflict. It was an evolution of my mission to help people truly thrive. So this was basically my main reason to, shift to this profession.
That's such a beautiful concept. I really love it. From that idea of seeking balance and restitution in the legal world to doing it sort of in the physical and the sort of the metaphysical realm. That's really fascinating. Could you tell us a little bit about, where and when did you start your work in healing, and what are the therapies that you practiced at the beginning?
My healing career really launched in a spectacular way. I started my work with Aman Resorts as a therapist. So this wasn't just a job, it was an immersive entry into the world of luxury wellness at the highest standards, where the focus was entirely on deep personalized healing experiences. I was fresh from my training, and my initial practice was centered on therapies and that connect the mind, body, and the spirit. I began primarily focusing on three key areas. First was, Ayurveda and traditional Asian bodywork. Given the locations and the philosophy, I focused heavily on yoga, Ayurveda, and deep therapeutic Asian modalities that addressed physical pain and energy blockages. Energy healing, I quickly integrated practices like Reiki and reconnective healing and the reconnection and other subtle energy work. This allowed me to go beyond the physical surface and address the unseen emotional and energetic cause of imbalance. I led guests through introductory sessions in pranayama and guided meditation to help them immediately anchor themselves in the present moment. So these were my initial, when I started my career in the spa. So this is how I started. This is how I began my journey.
That's already very, very impressive. But, it's such a combination of so many techniques. How have you expanded this, and what do you practice now? What are your primary therapies that you use?
So as I discussed, the initial work I did focusing on Ayurveda and therapeutic body work and subtle energy at places like Aman laid a wonderful foundation. But my practice has extended to deepen significantly over the years. The biggest shift is in the scope of well-being. I quickly realized that targeting just the physical body, while necessarily, only addresses half the equation. My focus has evolved from simple physical wellness to genuine overall well-being. Like it was like full triad, like body, mind, and the soul. So the target was this. So true lasting healing must address the mental patterns, the emotional blockages, and the spiritual disconnects that cause physical symptoms. And to facilitate this deeper whole person transformation, I have specialized in modalities that work directly with the nervous system and energy fields. Today, my core practices includes craniosacral stillness touch. This is a gentle yet profound practice that facilitates deep rest in the central nervous system, helping the body release trauma and stress held at the cellular level. The another modality that I do use is access bars. This modality is brilliant for clearing mental clutter, limiting beliefs, and old emotional programming, essentially defragging the brain to allow for new possibilities. And we all are bound by all these limiting beliefs. And another modality that I use is rebirthing breathwork, which is like conscious connected breathing, which Leonard Orr has introduced to the world. So this practice uses breath as a tool to unlock and release deep-seated emotional pain and trauma, often offering intense emotional cleansing and renewal. This expansion means I no longer just offer temporary physical relief, I offer tools for fundamental, self directed change across the mental, emotional, and physical planes. And apart from these, I also offer like tarot card reading, inner child healing, family constellation, and also past life regression along with these modalities.
Wow. That's a very, very impressive resume. And I think coming at it from our sort of Western viewpoint, when I think of the therapies that are available, for example, to me around me, it's so unusual to have somebody that combines so many things on the physical and sort of the mental and almost the spiritual level. We tend to have sort of, if we want yoga, we'll go to one person, and breathwork will go to another. Um, is it common for wellness practitioners in Asia to combine so many different techniques, so many different philosophies? Do you feel that traditional Asian wellness philosophies offer a more extensive range or differ in specific ways from Western ones?
Yes, that is definitely yes. And including like different, in Western world, we have a particular practitioner for particular therapy. And I speak about myself that, for me, it was just not like one therapy, because my goal was not only just the physical to help on healing the physical plane, but more on body, mind, and soul. That was my goal. So the reason I train in such a wide range of practices comes directly from my experience as a lawyer. In the courtroom, you never rely on just one piece of evidence or one law. You use a comprehensive toolkit to build the strongest possible case. I brought that exact mindset into wellness. The simple truth is that no single therapy, whether it is a massage, a breathwork session, or an energy clearing, is a one size fits all solution. So when a client comes to me, their issue might be rooted in a physical pattern, a mental belief, or a deep emotional blockage. I need the freedom and the expertise to meet them exactly where they are. Having multiple diverse modalities from craniosacral stillness touch, which addresses the nervous system, to access bars, which clears mental clutter, means I don't have to force a client to fit a single mold. I can truly create a bespoke personalized session in that moment, choosing the precise tool that will be most effective for their unique journey toward healing the body, mind, and soul.
That's very interesting. And how do you go about, choosing that tool or selecting what you do with a particular client? Would a client come to you and say, this is what is going on in my life. I'm stressed about this. I'm physically experiencing that. And then you sort of choose the therapies for them? Or do you find that you get more, and I think especially in the sort of the resort or the lodge environment, do you get people coming to you sort of with a predetermined idea thinking, okay, I would like a Reiki session or a yoga session, and then you have to lead them towards, and then you realize that there's actually something else that would be more beneficial, and you lead them towards that. How does it usually work?
The key is to determine what level the client is ready to work on, like body, mind, emotion, or spirit. So, adapting the approach of every individual. So, we start with the consultation. The blend and sequence of these therapies are adapted minute by minute based on the client's presentation and feedback. The first is like every sessions begin with a conversation to assess client's current state and session goal. So it starts with verbal check-in. So are they seeking immediate relief? If they are seeking immediate relief, then most likely craniosacral therapy or bars can help. Or deep transformation, then rebirthing, breathwork, or tarot card reading can help them. Somatic check-in: is their breath is shallow? Are their muscle tense? Or is their energy scattered? This informs the starting point. Then second is adaptation and integration mid session. So we don't just pick one. I create a customized blend. Like, let's say, if a client comes in with high anxiety but wants to do rebirthing breathwork, then I might start with 15 minutes of stillness touch to calm the nervous system and establish safety. After the emotional release of rebirthing session, I might finish with 10 minutes of light access bar to integrate the changes and ground the new mental space. Following the subtle body's clues, like during a craniosacral stillness touch session, if I feel the primary restriction is related to an overwhelming flow of thoughts or a feeling of being stuck, then I might transition from the stillness touch hold directly into holding a say few keys, like, a few keys of access bars without disrupting the subtle gentle contact. If the client is struggling with a decision during a meditation session, the subsequent tarot reading is adapted to focus entirely on themes that arose during their meditative practice, turning abstract feelings into concrete visual guidance. So these are like the area. This is the way, like, I do have the approach. I do approach the clients, and not only just before the guests come, and then we discuss with them and we choose a treatment. But while I'm giving the session, if I feel there is something else the client is needed, then I will change. I will adapt the as per the client's requirement.
I'm just curious because I know you've worked quite a lot in various properties around Asia. In effect, how does this work in that hotel or that lodge environment? Do you get a lot of people who will come specifically for say a week, and they will have therapy sessions every day, having already planned that and thought of that? Or do you get a lot of people they're just there at the property and then they see that this is offered and they think, oh, well, I'm curious, I'll try this. And they end up coming back. How often does one happen versus the other?
Sometimes people have already idea that I will be the master in residence program. So they most of the time they book in advance. Like my experience with other properties, that is what I have noticed. And sometimes, like, let's say people are not really aware about the program or the master who is visiting. When they are on the property, then either through my flyer, they will know about me, and they will be curious to talk about my therapies and then how it can help them. So by conversing with them, or I do also sometimes approach them, like, let's say, just to have a general introduction. We discuss, and then they book the sessions. How often they book is basically depend, like, what are they going through. Sometimes they book everyday sessions, and some client even ask twice a day, because morning and evening I can offer different therapies, and that can help them, like, to continue their day, and then in the evening they just want to relax and sleep better. So I design according to the client's need. So it happens, and but sometimes it also happens where I feel the therapy is not required, like twice a day or once in a day. Sometimes they need a day gap in between, then they can receive, they can have a gap of 1 or 2 days. But it is safe, like most of the time people actually book every day when they when I'm there.
Obviously, people are there at the lodge for a relatively short period of time. Yeah, I think you can make quite a lot of difference in intense treatments every day. But what about follow up? Once their time there is done, how do you deal with that? Do you try and give them as many skills as possible to work by themselves afterwards? Or do you recommend that they find a specific practitioner or a specific therapy in wherever home is? I'm just really curious about how that would work.
This is a fantastic question, actually. And to answer this, I do give them enough tools to, practice at home when they go back. So, like, let's say breath work, it is really, really intense work. And sometimes people need a follow up session or to even, like, manage their energy. So, I do give them, like, 40 ccb to practice at home. And it's a simple practice and they can learn very easily. And when they practice at home, they find immense results. So they even don't need to find another practitioner. But sometimes, if it is required that they need a follow up session, then I'm always available to give them virtual session, like, for their to help them. What are they going through, and if they need any specific help. But otherwise, I do give them enough guidance so then they can practice at home. My goal is always, not for them to follow me, but to empower them so that they can heal themselves. I just guide them. I'm just there first time to facilitate and to help. But once they receive that, then I always prefer them to get empowered.
So you try to give them the tools and show them how to use them, and then they can carry on.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know that you've traveled and worked extensively throughout Asia and beyond. I mean, India, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Thailand, so many different places. From your experience, Asia is so well known for wellness retreats, for transformative experiences of that kind. What do you think that makes Asia in general, and maybe Bhutan in particular as well, such an amazing destination for wellness?
It's a beautiful question. And after having the privilege of traveling and working across such a diverse tapestry of cultures, and from the vibrant intensity of India to the serene temples of Thailand, I can say that Bhutan possesses a truly singular and potent energy for wellness. I must say, like, throughout Asia, but yes, Bhutan specifically. And what makes Bhutan a unique and unparalleled destination for those seeking profound healing comes down to two powerful intertwined factors: the power of place and practice, which is like Himalayan energy. So, the first element is the sheer, undeniable energy of the land. Bhutan's wellness is fundamentally rooted in its geography and its spiritual practices. So it has a very strong mountain energy, nestled high in the Himalayas. The mountains themselves act as colossal generators and conduits of primal quiet energy. Being surrounded, by these majestic, pristine peaks naturally shifts the human nervous system. And this powerful environment makes any work I do, whether it's craniosacral stillness touch or rebirthing breath work, immediately deeper and more grounding happen. And the land supports the amplifies the healing process. And continuous meditation, like, unlike other places where meditation is an optional activity in Bhutan, it is the bedrock of the culture, with monasteries and retreat centers built into the landscape. The country has been consecrated by centuries of continuous Vajrayana Buddhist practice and prayers. And this creates a palpable energetic field, a profound collective stillness that facilitates immediate mental clarity and emotional release for anyone who enters Bhutan. And the another one is the power of intent, the happiest nation. The second factor is nation's unique foundation philosophy, which directly addresses the holistic health of the visitor. The Bhutan is famous for the happiest country in the world because its government is fundamentally committed to the well-being and spiritual health of its own people. This national priority creates an environment entirely free of the typical stressors, noise, and materialism that define so much of modern life. And for people specifically seeking deep healing, this atmosphere is not just relaxing, it's transformative. And the energy, the kindness of the people, and the complete immersion in a culture that prioritizes inner peace provide a psychological safety net. It allows clients to drop their defenses, release deep seated trauma, and access profound lasting shifts in a way that simply isn't possible in a high stress environment. When you travel in Bhutan, most of the time you don't even see any car, like it's only you and surrounded by the mountains. So you don't need to make any efforts to even do meditation. All your thoughts just drop. So it, automatically creates, that meditative states, or just releases all the stress that you are carrying from outside world. So I think Bhutan is really a very special place.
I absolutely agree with you about that energy of the place. I mean, I've been very lucky to travel to Bhutan twice. And a lot of the time it's been hosting people, usually journalists, but also sometimes, tour operators, but always people in very intense jobs that are very sort of caught up. And every time I've been with them, they've all been there for work. But without fail, Bhutan has somehow worked that magic. And everybody, I've just watched them sort of release and slow down and just completely open themselves up, I think, in ways that not very many destinations actually encourage. Do you think there's something about the destination that just makes it easy for people to, to strip down to basics, to reconnect with other people? Because the people of Bhutan, as you said, are just so warm and open, and also to reconnect with themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Bhutan possesses powerful inherent spiritual and emotional qualities, and that act as a profound catalyst, making it much easier for people to strip down to basics and achieve a deep reconnection with themselves and each other. And this isn't merely about luxury or relaxation, it is about the very fabric of the nation, creating a container for transformation. Here, I would like to mention 3 points. Like, one is the power of tranquility and peace. So, Bhutan's connection to gross national happiness that we had just discussed preserved a culture of non aggression and contentment. And this translates into a pervasive feeling of peace that immediately lowers a visitor's stress response. And when the background noise of modern consumerism rush and conflict is absent, the nervous system can finally settle. And this quietude allows the constant mental chatter to subside, forcing individuals to confront and engage with their inner landscape rather than external distractions. And reconnecting this deep seated tranquility fosters patience and presence. When individuals are less internally agitated, they are naturally more present and open to genuine, heart centered connection with their, travel companions or family. The second point I would say is immersion in pristine nature. So, Bhutan is a carbon negative country, meaning its commitment to environmental preservation ensures that its natural beauty is pristine and overwhelming. The country's monasteries and trails are built into the mountains, not merely beside them. So, being physically immersed in such unadulterated nature, the towering Himalayas, the rushing rivers like the Mochu, and the vast unpolluted forest provides an instant grounding effect. It breaks down the artificial barriers of urban life and reconnects people to their biological need for simplicity and the elemental cycle of life. And shared experiences in nature, whether it is steep hike to the tiger's nest or a simple walk through the rice paddies, forge deep bonds. Facing the physical challenges of the environment together promotes a mutual sense of vulnerability and achievement, and facilitating authentic human connection far removed from digital screen. And the third point is the spiritual pervasiveness. The presence of Vajrayana Buddhism is not confined to temples. It is woven into daily life, manifesting as prayer flags, butter lamps, and the kindness of Bhutanese people. This spiritual atmosphere provides a continuous, subtle invitation to mindfulness and introspection. It gently encourages visitors to look beyond the material world and contemplate larger questions to purpose and compassion, returning them to their most basic human values. And this culture emphasizes community and compassion. And visitors often find themselves engaging in simple, meaningful exchanges with locals, which naturally shifts the focus from self care to collective well being. And this is the ultimate catalyst for reconnecting as the journey itself becomes like an exercise in shared humanity. I think these 3 points explains how we can just connect to ourselves instead of or to others through the heart center.
I think those are very, very interesting points. I think especially, what you say about being immersed in nature, because there are very few places in the world like Bhutan where just absolutely everywhere is spectacular. You can be in the middle of the capital city or one of the cities. As soon as you walk outside, there's just these magnificent mountains all around you, and everything is so beautiful and so present. I think it's so easy to connect with nature. I mean, you can't not. And also, I think what you say about people, Bhutanese people are so they're very, very gentle in the way that they speak, in the way that they approach everything. And I don't know if it's because guests always travel with a guide that also makes it a little bit easier for them to open up. So they've already started speaking to Bhutanese people, and then it's easier for them to talk to other people. But also, I think you're very right about that people will find themselves just speaking to others on the street, or, if they're hiking somewhere, they will stop and say hello to someone that they see, which you don't find in very many destinations around the world. So I think that does open you up a lot.
That's very true. They are so friendly, and because they are connected with the nature. And the connecting with the nature is basically, then you are connecting with this every being around you. So you don't make any discrimination.
It's a very healthy outlook for overall wellness, I think. Vijaya, you will soon be heading back to Bhutan for your residency at Beyond Punakha River Lodge, I think in December and then again in May 2026, yes. Can you tell me a little bit more about the role that you're going to be playing at the lodge and about the program that you're going to be taking part in?
Yeah. And Beyond Punakha River Lodge, my primary function is to serve as a resident expert who translates the client's needs into a bespoke journey utilizing the lodge's unique environment and my specialized modalities. So I'll be meeting with clients individually to conduct a thorough intake and assessment. Based on their current state, specific needs, and requirements, I will be then personally be responsible for guiding and curating treatments. So I craft a highly personalized session or multi-day package. So for example, a client is struggling with mental burnout, might receive a combination of access bar for mental clearing, a walk in the rice paddies, followed by a guided meditation for grounding, and a final integration session of craniosacral stillness touch for nervous system rest, integrating local or global wellness. So I weave together the potent calming energy of the Punakha Valley, the rivers, the mountain, air, the local Bhutanese healing traditions like the Datso hot stone bath. So with my advanced modalities, rebirthing, breathwork, craniosacral therapy, so these ensures the client's healing is not a temporary fix, but is supported and amplified by the power of Bhutan itself. And for those seeking deep emotional or spiritual shifts, I offer intensive sessions like breathwork or deep intuitive guidance through tarot card reading, ensuring the environment feels safe, contained, and nurturing for such profound work. So this will be my goal when I'm at Beyond.
So it's really your full range of therapies and the full range of services that you offer there, correct?
Yes.
So the way that I understand it, there will be a group session per day that guests can join, or they can choose to have more in-depth private sessions with you. I think it's really aimed at any kind of traveler, whether it's just somebody who wants to seek some physical relief after a long day of hiking, or if it's somebody who's searching more for spiritual guidance or actually looking to clear their mind. So it's both for those guests who are not there primarily for wellness, and even more so for those who book specifically for wellness. Is that correct?
Yes, the beauty of the Masters in Residence program is that the treatments are not aimed at one specific traveler, as you mentioned, but rather at meeting any guest's current needs, whether the need of physical, emotional, or spiritual. So, like as you mentioned about the physically exhausted traveler, like the hiker, so their need will be physical relief after a long itinerary of trekking, or to Khamsum Yeli, or we would focus primarily on craniosacral stillness touch to soothe the adrenal system, reduce inflammation, and calm deep tissue tension that traditional massage might miss. So we can combine, the traditional therapies. This is often combined with a simple guided meditation to allow the mind to fully surrender to the body's need for rest. And the mentally overwhelmed traveler, their need will be to clear their minds, achieve cognitive clarity, and silence the inner critic. So the treatment, the foundation would be access bar, followed by a potent short session of free birthing breath work to quickly dissolve the pressure of stress. And the focus is rapid mental decompression using the quiet, natural Bhutanese environment to reinforce the newly acquired sense of clarity. And the seeker, like person who is in search of his spiritual guidance, a sense of purpose, or profound self connection, then this involves a deeper blend, maybe a tarot card reading to map out the energetic landscape, followed by a rebirthing breathwork session to release old emotional patterns, and concluding with craniosacral stillness touch to integrate the spiritual shifts safely and gently into the physical body. So, in short, my services are designed for the discerning traveler who understands that wellness in Bhutan should be a holistic, personalized experience, moving beyond surface level, pampering to facilitate deep, lasting change. Whatever their need is, we have to tool to meet it.
So, in the wider context, how can practices such as mindfulness or the ancient wellness principles that guests can learn from Beyond Punakha help them to deal with the stresses of modern life?
So basically, they carry the all the practices that they will do in Bhutan. At the same time, they will receive some tools that we will be guiding them. And so when they will practice on a regular basis, this can actually help them to stay grounded and to be centered, especially like the guided meditations, um, uh, which is basically the normally I teach anapanasati meditation that helps them to be mindful. So mindfulness is basically you live in the present moment. So, and everything that you do, you are mindful about it. Like means you are aware what you are doing. So you are aware in each and every moment. So when we are aware in this present moment, and then we are aware that this is the only moment, we are not connected with the past or we are not connected to the future. So when a person have this understanding, and this is the understanding that they receive when they enter in Bhutan. So Bhutan itself, the place itself actually give this experience to them. And then when they come to the lodge, and beyond, there we also help them to understand and to receive this awareness and to be mindful for every action they do or they take in their life. So it doesn't matter like where they will be after leaving the place. They can carry this will be a gift for them. And even they don't require to sit like for long hours. Like normally there is a myth. People think that we need to sit for hours. With closed eyes and keeping our back straight, and so this actually disconnect them to practice meditation or be mindfulness. But when we teach them a simple practices or be aware of their breath, simple practices like you remind yourself or you be aware of your inhalation or exhalation, or just say to yourself, I am breathing in or I'm breathing out. You will see just doing this simple practice can help or benefit you tremendously.
Vijaya, you've given us a lot of information. I want to end off with a little bit of a personal snippet from you. What is it that you yourself do when you're feeling stressed and in need of some extra TLC? Do you have a favorite therapy?
Definitely, I do have a practice like for myself. I would not say the stress, but yes, I do regular meditation practice. So in the morning, I sit for an hour. And I just mentioned about Anapanasati meditation, which is the breath awareness practice that I do. And I also, my favorite therapy is breath work. So, and it's very quick when, if you have a little stress or anxiety, you can just do this conscious connected breathing. And we call it 40 CCB. So this is, so I do 3 rounds of 40 CCB. This involves breathing without pause between the inhale and the exhale. And this continuous rhythmic flow brings energy and movement into the body's system, helping to dislodge and clear emotional and energetic stagnation. And performing these 3 sets of 40 breaths is a focused, short yet potent practice. It is just enough to quiet the mind, shift the nervous system from a high stress, fight or flight state to a calmer, parasympathetic state, and leave me feeling renewed. So this is the regular dedicated breath practice ensures that I maintain balance, making those demanding days easier to navigate and ensuring I show up fully present with my clients. So this is like my favorite practice, and I do on the regular basis along with meditation. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been really, really lovely talking to you, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all these wonderful questions.
Thank you for listening to Bet Your World. For more on topics regarding travel, sustainability, wellness, and conservation, don't forget to follow our podcast. You can also follow N Beyond on Facebook or Instagram, or log on to our website at ndbeyond.com.